I got ChatGPT to write an entire song, and it is horrifying. Welcome, Homo sapiens! Last month was ChatGPT's first birthday. Happy birthday, ChatGPT. Well, it was actually a month and 1 day, but you get the idea. Writer's block is one of the most frustrating things that can happen to any creative. Wouldn't it be great if you had something that could do all the hard work for you? Enter ChatGPT. Now, this whole using ChatGPT for ideas thing has been done before. People have made videos where ChatGPT helps them with the lyrics, suggests chord progressions, etc. But these ultimately had a human behind every decision. What if you went beyond simply getting ideas? What would ChatGPT create if the human element were removed completely? Well, I'm sure you've already realized it would not do a very good job. I want to begin by talking about why ChatGPT is so bad at making music before getting into the song that it created. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Essentially, it takes a huge amount of data, analyzes it, and searches for patterns. It then uses these patterns to predict what could come next. So it never actually understands what it's saying. It just knows that certain words tend to follow certain other words in certain contexts. It's also trained on text written online, and what type of music is the most common thing people talk about online? Scales and basic melodies. When the vast majority of the melodies you encounter are geared towards beginners, you're gonna come up with melodies a beginner could play. To be clear, there are AIs that are designed to create music, that are trained on music, and can create unique melodies. However, ChatGPT is the jack of all trades, master of none. It's not designed for music. At the same time, an AI trained for music would be pretty bad at answering math questions.
Wait, it's wrong. I did this to prove that you're good at math.
As well, ChatGPT has no concept of rhythm. It doesn't understand notation, it doesn't understand time signature, and it doesn't understand beats and rests. And it often plays notes that aren't even in the key of the song. So that's why ChatGPT is so bad at music. But what if we don't want it to make music? What if we just want ChatGPT to write the lyrics for us? It can't be that bad, right? Well, it turns out it's pretty bad at that too. I took the title of 12 famous pop songs from across the generations from the 1970s to the 2020s, and I got ChatGPT to generate lyrics for a song with the same name. What I found shocked me. Literally every single song started with "in the" insert noun here. 3 of them started with "in the shadows alone," and 2 of them started with "in the silence." Every single song used the word night at least once, with many using it twice, 3 times, or more. If you think I stopped at just looking at the lyrics, you'd be wrong. I created an entire spreadsheet where I counted every single word. Here's the list. I'm gonna ignore all the obvious words like the, and for obvious reasons. You can see from the list, the word "in" was used over 150 times. There were only 13 4-bar sequences across all the songs that didn't say in them. For reference, when I looked at the lyrics of all the songs I used in the experiment, they only said "in" 73 times. Less than half. The most times "in" was said in the human versions was 16, which was "Him and I" by G-Eazy and Halsey. And that song used in the chorus, so obviously it's gonna say it a lot. In comparison, "Him and I" written by ChatGPT used it 21 times. And that isn't even the highest amount. That award goes to "Blinding Lights" by The Weeknd by ChatGPT at 24 ins. The next most common word was "hour," used 50 times. I just want to reiterate that there were only 12 songs. "Love" is the next most relevant word at 40 uses. "Echo" appeared in all but 1 of the songs. Only 2 didn't have the word "symphony," with "New Rules" by Dua Lipa by ChatGPT having as many as 3. The song "Dark Horse" has the words "shadows" a whopping 7 times. Only 3 songs were spared from the word "dance." I could keep going, but I think you get the point. In case you think it's because I used the same prompt every single time, I actually generated the Cupid song with a different prompt and got similar results. Another problem with ChatGPT is that it doesn't really understand rhythm, flow, and melodic structure. It just makes sentences that rhyme with little thought of how the words actually come together to make music. Look at some of these excerpts. They make no sense rhythmically. And look how some of them jump radically from 9 syllables to 15. How the fuck are you supposed to sing that? When questioned on why its lyrics are so bad, ChatGPT simply said it was not able to make subjective and creative decisions. A bit of a cop-out, so I used a jailbreak prompt in order to get it to actually answer the question. It said this: crafting compelling lyrics requires a nuanced understanding of language, emotion, and rhythm. ChatGPT may struggle with lyricism due to its inability to grasp the intricacies of human experience and creativity. So ChatGPT is bad at making music, and it's bad at making lyrics. But what does ChatGPT music actually sound like? Well, kinda, sorta, maybe, almost terrible in every single conceivable manner. And before I get started, if you're interested in the full process of me making this song, I uploaded an edited version of all the footage to my second channel, so you can check that out in the card on the screen or at the end of the video. So I started by asking what genre we should make. It wasn't too happy about having to make a decision, so I just asked it what the most popular genres were and picked the first one. It ended up being pop music, unsurprisingly. I asked it to give me some names for a pop song so I could begin writing the lyrics, or, well, it's writing the lyrics actually, but you know what I mean. I used a random number generator to pick a random name from the list, and it chose Pop Prism Passion, which not only is a terrible name for a song, it also makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you put the name of the genre you're creating in the title? What is Prism Passion? Why? Next, I asked it to write chords for the song. It went with the most generic option possible, a 1, 5, minor 6, 4 in the key of C major. Look, it's such a common chord progression, it even has its own Wikipedia entry. Look at all those songs using this exact progression. But I can hardly fault ChatGPT for this. If it is the most common progression, it's the safest option to pick, I guess. Besides, I think it's more a human shortcoming than a problem with AI. So along with the chords, it gave me rudimentary lyrics to go along with it. So I copied the lyrics into Notepad and asked it to finish the lyrics for me. Here's the full lyrics in case you care. I then asked it to write a melody for the lyrics. The problem is ChatGPT has no idea how melody works, or rhythm, or language for that matter, since it put a note change on a voiceless consonant. How the hell are you supposed to vocalize that? I tried multiple times to get it to sync the melody with the vowels, but it was just not understanding what I was trying to describe. I also asked it to play the melody and it wouldn't. It gave me a Python script that just plays notes without actually telling me how to play it. So I had to give it my best guess as to what it was trying to do. I put a piano in my DAW and got to working on the song. The melody it gave me was extremely basic. It just went up and down the scale basically. So I asked it to write some variations to keep it interesting. It kept giving me very basic melodies that essentially moved from one note to the next, which was getting a bit repetitive, and I was getting a little annoyed. Why won't you just write an interesting dynamic melody? Okay, never mind, go back to the basic melodies, please. So after a bit of coercion, it finally made some unique melodies, but it decided to say it to any semblance of musicality and started playing C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp. It sounded god awful, but it's what ChatGPT told me to do, so I guess I have to do it. My assumption for why this happened is because ChatGPT was probably pulling from one resource, which was written in C major, the key of the song. This kept the notes in key, but consequently had very basic melodies because C major is the easiest key to play on the piano. So when I asked it for more complicated melodies, it started pulling from a different resource that was more complicated but in a completely different key. The result is this. It should be noted that these are still very basic melodies, they're just in the wrong key. I'd say maybe 90% of them just went from one note to the next, with only a few variations actually playing dynamic melodies. Eventually I asked it to stop going from one note to the next, and it finally started playing melodies that were more than just scales. Still in the wrong key, still awful, but at least it was different. So the melody was finished, but the rhythm wasn't. So I asked it to give me some rhythmic variation. And rather than making a rhythm, it just told me to make every instance of F half notes, G sharps dotted half notes, D eighth notes, and everything else quarter notes, which is a really weird way to do it. I decided to have everything though, because it would have been an extremely long song if I actually listened to what ChatGPT told me. So, ChatGPT, as far as I'm concerned, you failed as a musician. I had to step in to fix your mistake. The whole point of this was to have as little human intervention as possible, and you failed. For shame, ChatGPT. Anyways, I asked it to tell me what instruments to use and started making the drum pattern. It told me to do a 4 on the floor pattern, but when I asked it to give me some variation, it actually gave me completely wrong notes, so I went with the worst version because it's funnier, okay? It's funnier. I then asked it to make some drum variations for transitions and build-ups. I got it to add cymbals and a tom, and this is what the final drums sounded like. Next, ChatGPT wanted a bass guitar, so I asked it what pattern it wanted. This is what it gave me. It could not figure out how notation worked. There were notes that were off the beat, notes that were between beats, ones that didn't even have a beat attached to them. I decided to just put the ones on the beat down and then count how many were in between the major notes and then time stretch them. This is what it sounded like. None of it synced with the beat, none of it matched the chords or melody it provided, none of it made any sense whatsoever. It was a cacophonic mess. I got ChatGPT to write 4 variations on the bass and they were all equally terrible and all equally made no sense. I think I described it best when I said it sounds like someone trying to improvise the bass in the style of a metal song while the piano plays a nursery rhyme. I finished the rest of the instruments that ChatGPT wanted, adding a pad, an arp, a synth lead, strings, and horns in an electric guitar. I next asked it for a harmony line to play in the chorus, and it told me to use major thirds and major sixths. Okay, first of all, I've never heard anyone recommend using the sixth to harmonize ever. It's always the major third and major fifth. Second of all, this is a terrible idea. You see, saying such a blanket statement completely ignores the fact that it's gonna end up playing notes that are out of the scale. Every song that has harmony sometimes switches to minor thirds when necessary. ChatGPT doesn't seem to care though and just says use them exclusively. Okay, whatever you say. Sounds like you're trying to summon the devil, oh my god. Next, I installed a plugin called Alter Ego, which is basically a free alternative to Vocaloid. You input text and melody and it sings the notes for you. I could have sung it myself, but I had literally no idea how I was supposed to sing ChatGPT's melody. There weren't enough syllables in some lines, there were too many in others. None of it made any sense whatsoever. I finished the song with some mixing to make it sound palatable, if you could even call it that. This is what a song made exclusively using ChatGPT sounds like. Are you excited? Cause you shouldn't be. Are you ready? Here we go.
Underneath the moons, soft low whispers of the street echo, where the dreamers go away, electric dreams in technicolor shades and shadows, like no other every planet. Exploration is radiant, television pop prism passionate. The neon lights dancing reflections through the vibrant nozzles that fades. Why like you in the tail now zero? You choose remedies or redders. We take flight and just kill us. Pink lights and prism passionate. Neon lights dancing reflections. The vibrant nozzles remember we written in the wall. We found our prism passion, forever bound for prism. Passion in the neon lights dancing, contradictions through the vibrant night cold. Words colliding in our words so bright. Our syncopated to the rhythm. All the light cities came collide us. Scope underneath the moon's soft loneliness. Scores on the tree echo when the tree. We're going electric dreams a technique. Color shades and shadows I know. Over every step and expert. Action is ready to con. Installation of prism passion.
Wow. That was many levels of dog shit stacked upon more layers of dog shit. I decided I wanted to take what ChatGPT gave me and make it an actual song. I wanted to change as little as possible to keep in the spirit of the project. The lyrics had to be changed completely though, because ChatGPT's lyrics did not fit with the melody whatsoever. I also had to add a lot of weird key changes because the melody changed keys so much. Here's a snippet of my version.
Poppy pop prism passion in the bright neon skylight.
If you want to hear the full song along with the process of me making the song, check out my second channel. So in conclusion, is AI coming for our jobs? Well, probably, but in the same way you wouldn't get a 4-year-old to direct an award-winning movie, ChatGPT is not designed to make music. It has no idea how music works, what it's saying, how to harmonize, etc. It can only tell you what others have said about music. It can't actually make music on its own. There are AIs trained on music, designed for music, and that make music that actually sounds pretty good. For example, every song I used in the background of this video was completely AI generated. Isn't that crazy? And it was all done in literal minutes, compared to a human who has to sit at a desk for hours at a time before something as simple as a demo can be finished. Combine that with lyric generators, and you could have a song done in minutes, ready to go out to all the biggest music labels. This may be foreshadowing for a future Costiverse video. I put sussy Amagussi sound effect in the script. What is wrong with me? Anyways, while ChatGPT is incredibly powerful and very good at making sentences that sound like proper English, it doesn't understand a word it's saying, and because of that, it's pretty bad at making music, as should be evidenced by the song it made. I'm not saying ChatGPT is completely useless when it comes to making music. It can be a really good way to brainstorm ideas and come up with themes for a song, but as of right now, ChatGPT should not be used to make a song all on its own. There are much more powerful AIs designed to make music that do a much better job than ChatGPT. I'm really excited to see where AI will take us next. Considering we can even do this in the first place is absolutely mind-blowing. I remember as a kid being fascinated by the Akinator, how it could guess who you're thinking of from a few simple questions. Nowadays, we have a tool far more powerful than the Akinator in our pockets everywhere we go. But instead of guessing who you're thinking of, it'll literally write your PhD dissertation for you. The technology has come so far in such a short period of time, it's crazy. Young me would be so excited to have access to the stuff we have now. So what are your thoughts? What did you think of the ChatGPT song? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to check out the second channel video if you're interested in seeing the process of the making of the song. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot. Bye!